You know, I heard that Caltrans buys 120,000 cones every year to replace the ones that get run over.
That's a lot of cones.
But the real problem is rear-end collisions.
Serious rear-end collisions can result from tailing a car too close at high speeds.
If more drivers knew what it takes to slow down a ton of rolling metal.
A lot of lives could be saved.
And cones.
Okay, now let's imagine a car on an isolated road, poking along at 20 miles per hour. In the distance, our driver sees the road ends at the edge of a cliff.
Some road.
This is an imaginary road, with an angry T-Rex at the bottom of the cliff.
Interesting.
Okay, now the driver hits the brakes. At 20 miles per hour, let's say it takes him 100 feet to come to a stop.
Plenty of spare room.
Now let's take the same car and double its speed to 40 miles per hour. What do you think happens to the stopping distance?
The car's going twice as fast, so maybe it goes twice as far.
That's what you think, but actually the distance is doubled, twice over. It takes about 400 feet for it to stop. When calculating the distance it takes to stop a moving object, part of the equation is taking the speed and squaring it.
So if the speed is doubled, the distance is doubled twice.
Right. At 20 miles per hour, it took 100 feet to stop. Double the speed.
40 miles per hour.
Then the stopping distance will be doubled twice.
To 400 feet.
And our driver becomes history.
Is he killed by the fall or the T-Rex?
Well, either way, it looks pretty bad.
By increasing a car's stopping distance, speed causes many an accident that could have been avoided had the car been traveling at a reasonable rate.
By slowing down just a little.
You greatly decrease your stopping distance, and therefore your chances of having a collision.
And did you know that if you slow from 65 miles per hour down to 55 for 1 mile, you only lose 10 seconds?
And hitting another car is probably going to cost you more than 10 seconds.
You think?
Now let's move on to other factors. Well, it's easier to push a small car, so it must be easier to stop a small car too.
Big heavy vehicles require a greater distance to stop. Then there's slope.
It's easier to stop a car going uphill.
And harder to stop going downhill.
Decrease your speed at the crest of the hill and drive at a speed which will permit you to stop well within your sight distance in case of emergency. Once over the hill crest on the downgrade, your stopping distance increases even if you do not increase your speed because of the added gravitational pull. Drive as if your life depends on it. It does.
Then there's grip. The vehicle's grip on the road is very important.
Your ability to stop, accelerate, and turn rests on just 4 small patches of rubber touching the road. But even with new tires, certain road conditions can steal a lot of your grip.
That's right. If the road's wet or icy,
Or gravelly or oily.
any of those things will make it a lot harder to stop suddenly.
That's a good argument for slowing way down when road conditions change.
And watch out for those nuts that drive too fast, no matter what the conditions are.
The impatient driver, who hopes to save a few seconds by weaving in and out, endangers both lives and property.
Those people are nuts. Just let them go past. Finally, there's reaction time.
The good driver, for example, knows that no one can stop on a dime like this. No matter how serious the emergency, even an experienced driver takes a certain amount of time after he perceives danger before he can begin to apply the brakes.
Most cone zone crashes happen before drivers even get into the zone. There's always the jerk who sneaks down the side and cuts people off in front.
And everyone else in line has to slam on their brakes.
And the poor, unsuspecting chump 5 cars back who's changing CDs while talking on a cell phone.
He just doesn't see it coming.
If you're traveling 60 miles per hour, that's 88 feet per second.
A lot can happen in a second, especially in the cone zone.
So, to figure total stopping distance, take the distance required to physically stop the car and add it to the considerable distance you traveled thumbing through the Madonna songs on your iPod.
You mean the Madonna songs on your iPod?
So, to wrap this up, be aware of all the factors that affect your ability to stop in the cone zone.
There's speed, weight, slope, grip, and
Reaction time? And remember, when you see those orange cones ahead, merge early.
thanks for watching, and drive safe.
Drive safely.